Year 3094. Day 17 of Mission Echo, Planet Teclora. The descent wasn't planned. A light-class reconnaissance ship plunged through the red murk of Teclora's upper atmosphere like a blade dragged through blood. Static fire bloomed along the hull as solar shielding failed, and by the time the vessel broke through the lower stratum, it was little more than a shrieking meteor cloaked in plasma. The wreckage hit ground with a muffled roar, consumed not by flames but by silence. When the dust settled and the crystalline trees ceased trembling, a fractured panel creaked open. A gloved hand emerged, trembling. Then the rest of her helmet cracked, suit blackened. One arm limp at her side, collapsed beside a scorched alloy wing. Her name was Alaire Voss ***, last registered specialist of Project Echo. An experimental mission to harness bioresonance frequencies in alien environments. She had volunteered for this, or at least, that was what she told herself during the long months of orbital drift. A solo mission, one objective, no rescue protocol. Now she lay on a hostile planet with no coordinates, no functioning comlink, and no orbital support. The survival module had vaporized on impact. The emergency beacon sparked once, then died, smothered by the planet's electromagnetic storms. But that wasn't what terrified her. The real fear came from the quiet. Not the absence of sound, but its strange curvature, like the planet itself was listening. Watching, Teclora was not dead. Somewhere beneath the pale blue crusts of mineral glass and dense quartz forests, something stirred. And it was moving closer. She didn't remember how long she wandered. Between the jagged trunks of *** crystalline flora, Alaire stumbled forward, guided only by fragments of instinct and half-corrupted map overlays. The atmosphere was breathable, barely. Each breath tasted of metal and ozone. Shadows refracted unnaturally off every shard, turning even the smallest movement into a kaleidoscope of confusion. Her internal chronometer blinked. Day 1804, 12 local time ***. The temperature dropped. Her suit was running on auxiliary power. If she didn't find shelter soon, she would freeze. Her gloved hands clutched a broken nav stick like a weapon, though deep down she knew it was no use. Then ***, a shift in the air ***, not wind, something denser. Heavier. She turned and saw it, a silhouette towering among the crystal pines. Not mechanical, not humanoid. A creature, massive, slow-moving, its surface glittering like obsidian ice. Eyes glowing with a deep cyan hum. Limbs not of flesh, but interlocking shards that pulsed with inner light. A ** crystalline beast ***. It didn't roar, it didn't charge. It watched. Alaire backed away, breath shallow, calculating options she didn't have. No weapon, no flare, no backup. The creature stepped forward and the ground beneath her feet sang ***, a low tremor. Not seismic, but resonant ***, like the deep chord of a forgotten organ struck underground. Panic surged, and then without thinking, without knowing why, ***, she hummed ***. A soft, broken tune, the kind only mothers know, a lullaby from Europa's underground shelters. Passed down to her when she was still small enough to be held during the orbital bombings. She didn't even know the words, only the rhythm. 3 slow notes, then rise, fall, hold ***. The beast stopped moving, its posture shifted, the glowing eyes flickered. Its body, dozens of interlocked plates like mirrored armor, tilted, not aggressively, but like a hound angling its ear toward a distant sound. Alaire froze, lips parted, breath catching. Her voice cracked, but she repeated the melody. Slower this time, smoother, the creature lowered itself. Not all the way, but enough. Enough to show *** recognition ***. The air around them thickened with static. Alaire could feel it, not just in her ears but in her bones. Her mutation, the one they had tested, measured, and exploited back on Terra, wasn't just harmless anymore. Her asterisk sonic anomaly asterisk, the micro vibrations in her vocal cords, was asterisk doing something. It wasn't control, it was connection. Alaire stepped forward, her boots crunching on quartz. The beast didn't flinch. The light in its core pulsed in time with her voice. As if the lullaby was asterisk, awakening something asterisk, some ancient script etched into its biology. A memory encoded not in cells, but in asterisk vibrations asterisk. Could it be that simple? She stopped humming. Silence. The creature raised its head, nostrils flaring, not to sniff but to listen. Then came a low sound, not speech, not growl but something else. A asterisk reply asterisk, an echo, she gasped. It had remembered the tune. No, not remembered, mirrored, her spine prickled. She wasn't alone. Not in the wilderness, not in the universe, and certainly not in the moment. Something ancient was stirring, and she, a genetically modified Terran anomaly with a voice once deemed defective, had awakened it. In that stillness, Alaire realized the truth. She was not the predator. But neither was the beast. They were both, somehow, the last echoes of something older than war. Older than technology. Something buried beneath the ruin of reason and survival. And something else was coming. From the ridge behind her, a sharp flash lit the sky. Drones, black angular, not Terran, not neutral. A fleet, an army. Her voice was still trembling, her body still broken. But the beast was looking at her now, waiting, and Alaire understood. This wasn't her mission anymore. This was her war. Year 3094, planet Teclora, day 18 asterisk. She had no homeland. Only coordinates. Alaire Vos asterisk was born beneath the surface of Europa. Inside the ventilation shafts of a Tier 4 refugee settlement, built after the methane floods of 3062. Her first breath was filtered air. Her first sound, the static thrum of malfunctioning sonar rigs echoing through steel corridors. Her parents, if they ever existed, were not in her memory bank. Only files remained. A biological anomaly tagged during infancy, shuffled between research stations. Then declared asterisk unfit for social integration at age 5. Her designation, Siren Class Type Roman 3 asterisk. It was a name the scientists gave her. A cruel joke because she didn't cry, she hummed, not like a child. Not like a songbird, but with frequencies they couldn't explain, tones that made lab glass crack, machinery glitch, and once. In a moment no one dared repeat, put a soldier to sleep mid-strike asterisk. They called it a mutation, Alaire called it a defect. Years passed. Europa's outer colonies collapsed. She was transferred to a deep orbital facility orbiting Ganymede. Experimented on for over a decade, then abandoned in a logistics error when the station lost funding. She survived by singing to the security doors until they opened. That was the first time she realized her voice could asterisk bend reality asterisk. The Terran Union didn't recruit her, they acquired her. Project Echo was not public. It wasn't even legal under 3 different interstellar treaties. But when a sensor ghost appeared beneath the quartz shelf of Teclora asterisk, emitting harmonic pulses no probe could decipher, they needed someone who could listen differently. Alaire didn't ask questions. She didn't care about exploration, science, or first contact. She didn't believe in causes, or patriotism, or redemption. She had one reason for boarding the reconnaissance craft. Freedom. They offered full anonymity, erasure from the Union genetic registry, and a clean identity. A second life after this one last mission, one last echo. But no one warned her Teclora sings back. Now, as the alien colossus loomed before her in the twilight, she didn't scream. She didn't run, she sang, softly, cautiously, just 3 notes. The creature stirred, its crystalline plates shifting like glaciers of glass grinding against one another. Then it lowered its head, exhaling a shimmer of vaporized light. The ground vibrated, not with malice but with memory. Something in its eyes, those massive faceted lenses, changed color. From storm gray to violet blue, not predator, not machine. Something else, something that Asterisk recognized Asterisk her. Alaire's heart didn't race. It didn't need to. Fear was a worn-out song by now. Instead, she narrowed her eyes, tilted her head, and took a single step closer. Her boots crunched lightly against the fine quartz dust. She hummed again. This time the melody shifted, rising, falling, tracing the pattern of her own fragmented memories. A lullaby, not composed but reconstructed, pieced together from half-remembered moments inside a sterilized crib. And the creature responded. Its body pulsed, slow and subtle, with ripples of light that shimmered down its spine, refracting through the shards like colored breath. It wasn't mimicking. It was asterisk mirroring asterisk asterisk. Alaire had seen simulations of neural echo patterns. But this was different. It wasn't just resonance, it was reflection. Like a memory bouncing between two minds, one human, one something else. She took another step. This time the beast didn't react. It remained still, majestic, vast, a fusion of crystal and carbon, humming with vibrations she could almost translate. Almost. She reached into her suit's secondary storage and activated her asterisk voice recorder asterisk asterisk, unsure why. Maybe for the archive, maybe for herself. The machine blinked once. Recording. Into the silence she whispered, not a command, not a question. "Do you remember me?" The creature tilted its head. In its reflection, she saw something unexpected, not herself as she was now, but younger, smaller. A girl in a gray jumpsuit sitting on cold titanium floors, humming to herself while the world outside burned. She stumbled back, breath caught in her throat. Was this projection, hallucination? No. It was memory, not its asterisk memory, hers. The beast hadn't shown her an image. It had asterisk asterisk reflected asterisk something inside her. She blinked fast. No tears, not anymore. Then a realization settled over her like dust. This wasn't the first time her voice had changed something. Not the first time it asterisk reached somewhere beyond language. She had called it a defect, but here, on this forgotten world, it had become a asterisk bridge. The creature slowly turned, gesturing, not with arms but with motion, presence, asterisk tone. A low, harmonic pulse radiated from its core, not threatening, not defensive, an invitation, a direction. Alaire followed its gaze. Far beyond the cliffs of refracted light, over the jagged ridges and cold blue canyons, something glowed. A signal, a structure, she couldn't tell, but she knew in that moment with a certainty deeper than fear. The thing she had come to find wasn't buried, it was alive. And this creature, this beautiful, impossible sentinel, was not guarding it. It was waiting, waiting for a voice that could unlock what silence had sealed away. Alaire looked up at the alien titan once more. "I don't know what you are," she murmured. "But I think I might be like you." The creature's violet eyes dimmed slightly. Not rejection, not confusion, understanding. She turned toward the ridge. Her voice hummed a different tone now, not out of habit or defense or command, but out of asterisk kinship asterisk. For the first time in her life, Alaire Voss didn't feel like a weapon. She felt like a note, held long and quiet, finally part of something bigger. And the planet listened. Planet Teclora, Day 20, the crystal forest thinned near the base of the northern ridge, giving way to a jagged ravine carved into the planet's crust. Light filtered through fractured quartz above, scattering into amber and violet rays, painting the rocks below in otherworldly hues. Alaire stepped cautiously, every movement measured. The terrain was unstable, dry to the eye but vibrating with subsonic pulses beneath her feet. She had been following Carinth for 2 days now, though following was generous. The creature moved with deliberate silence, disappearing into the horizon at will, only to reappear where she least expected. But today it had paused, not at a lake or canyon or open field, but here at the entrance of a cave, not natural, etched. Its mouth was framed by two enormous shards of obsidian crystal that had been melted and shaped, not by nature, but by precision tools. Carvings covered the surface, faded and dust-choked, but unmistakably artificial. Her pulse quickened. She stepped inside. The air within was dense and dry, humming with a strange acoustic stillness. No echo, no reverberation, a quiet so deep it pressed against her ears. The tunnel sloped down gently, the walls narrowing until she reached a chamber lit by bioluminescent moss clinging to the ceiling like veins of dull gold. There, on the far wall, were the markings. She knelt, not glyphs, not symbols. Laser-etching ***, deliberate, crisp, even after what must have been millennia. Using her suit-scanning tool, she mapped the lines, overlaid linguistic heuristics, and waited. The translator stuttered, looped, and then resolved one single phrase. We did not tame it, we heard it and were taken. The breath caught in her throat. It wasn't a myth. This cave wasn't a ruin. It was a warning asterisk. She sat in the silence for nearly an hour, piecing fragments together. A trace energy signature still lingered in the carvings, quantum markers, Kithari in origin. She remembered that name from Terran archives. The Kithari ***, a now extinct civilization that had once spanned 3 spiral arms. They had no known language, only sound matrices. They had no weapons, only living tools of war, biological constructs that responded not to commands, but to resonance. Carinth was one of them, not a beast, not native built, not bred for companionship, or understanding, or harmony. Created for war. Elaire stared into the violet glow of the cavern and felt her spine tighten. She remembered Carinth's eyes, the echo of her lullaby reflected in its crystalline gaze. It was remembering something, not her, its purpose. What had she awakened? Her thoughts were broken by a low thrumming, mechanical, too sharp to be natural. She scrambled to her feet, climbed out of the cavern and scanned the ridge. In the distance, above a long plain of red sand, engines cut through the haze. Not Terran, Zayron. The shapes descended slowly, unfolding like angular insects, dark hulls rimmed in silver, marked with jagged red insignia. She counted 6 dropships, each flanked by drones fanned out in silent orbit. They landed just beyond the quartz field, troops deployed with seamless efficiency. Her suit registered a calm burst, encrypted but traceable. She tapped in, fragments bled through, designated asset, high-value target, biolink priority. Extract at all costs. They weren't here for mining. They were here for Carinth ***. The Zayron Empire, apex opportunists of the outer fringe, had no moral compass. Only algorithms of conquest. Their strategy was simple: destabilize through atmospheric manipulation. Then sweep entire systems with *** neutron storms while using bioengineered beasts as both battering ram and psychological terror. If they harnessed Carinth, the outer colonies would fall in weeks. The life axis ***, the Terran-Chiron alliance of settled worlds, would crumble. She backed away from the ridge and dropped to a crouch behind a crystal outcrop, heart hammering in her chest. Her options were non-existent: no weapons, no allies, no way off-world. Even if she could warn the Union, the signal would take days to reach the nearest outpost, and by then, it would be too late. Her only asset was a creature no one truly understood. Not even her. She thought of turning back, She almost did. But as she descended the slope again, the dust swirled behind her, silent but aware asterisk. She turned and saw it. Carinth, it had followed her. Or perhaps it had asterisk led asterisk her here. They stood in silence, the creature's luminous core pulsing slowly. Alaire's voice trembled as she spoke, not expecting understanding. They're here for you, no reaction. They'll try to control you. Twist you. The light in its chest dimmed, then flared. She swallowed hard. You're not a weapon anymore, you don't have to be. The wind shifted. The sand beneath their feet vibrated, not from seismic activity, but from the beat of distant engines. Carinth turned its head, the plates along its spine flexed. It had heard them, and Alaire realized with a chill it wasn't afraid. It was asterisk curious asterisk asterisk. 1,000 scenarios ran through her mind. If the Zeron Empire engaged the creature, the carnage would be cataclysmic. But if it asterisk responded asterisk to them, if it remembered its design, everything would burn. She whispered not to Carinth but to herself, "What if I'm the only thing standing between them and you?" A deep rumble answered her. Not a roar, not aggression, but a sound like ancient thunder turned inward. Her voice cracked as she whispered the lullaby again. 3 notes, rise, fall, hold. Carinth bowed its head. And for a fleeting moment, Alaire didn't feel small. She felt asterisk responsible asterisk. The war hadn't begun yet, but the sides were already chosen. And Teclora had just stopped being silent. Planet Teclora, day 23 asterisk, the sound came before the strike. A sharp crack, like thunder passed through glass, ripped through the quartz canopy above. Alaire ducked instinctively as a shard, the size of a human torso, shattered beside her. Her ears rang, her HUD blinked red, and the soft hum of her personal field sputtered. In the distance, just beyond the basin rim, asterisk Zeron pulse cannons asterisk lit up the air like fireflies on amphetamines. They had found her, not by thermal trace, not visual. By resonance, she should have known. Project Echo's vocal signatures, no matter how subtle, still carried acoustic fingerprints, fingerprints the Zeron Empire had technology to track. Their drones screamed overhead, black and needle-thin, moving in coordinated spirals. The sky buzzed with death. Alaire ran. Her boots pounded over fractured stone and loose crystal dust. Lungs burning as she weaved through collapsed columns of mineral light. Each breath felt like inhaling the edges of razors. But she kept running because she knew what they wanted. Not her, not Data, Carinth, a living relic of war still warm with ancient code. If they took it, the balance of every known system would tip into annihilation. They wouldn't extract it, they would enslave it behind her. Something exploded, a low rumble of kinetic force that lifted her off her feet and sent her crashing into a wall of polished amethyst. Pain tore through her shoulder, her visor cracked. Her lips moved without thinking, a note, a tone, a fragment of lullaby. It wasn't for comfort anymore. It was a call asterisk asterisk. The canyon she stumbled into had no name. To most scanners it didn't exist, a null zone where readings distorted and returned nonsense. But Project Echo had identified it in early survey data, a asterisk resonant fault asterisk asterisk. A place where geological memory stored frequencies in its very layers. Locals called it the liquid harmonic lake asterisk asterisk. To Alaire, it felt like standing on the lip of a massive, sleeping mouth. The air shimmered with invisible pressure. Droplets of vibrating mist hovered above the lake's surface, never falling. The ground was glassy but soft, rippling with every footstep. Her bones buzzed. She stumbled to the lake's edge, body screaming. She could see her reflection there, not herself, but a blurred version, trembling with sound, as if her existence here was uncertain. Behind her, drones closed in. One dipped low, A rail line charged. Then the air broke. A asterisk roar asterisk asterisk, not made of breath or volume but pure frequency asterisk asterisk, split the atmosphere in two. The drone imploded midair. The others scattered, crashing into the canyon walls as if struck blind. Alaire fell to her knees, hands over ears, but it wasn't enough. Blood dripped from her nose. Her skull vibrated with unbearable pressure. She gasped and looked up. Carinth had come. It stood on a ridge above the lake, posture towering and terrible. Its crystalline plates vibrated like a symphony of glass. But its eyes, those violet glowing eyes, weren't calm. They were asterisk asterisk on fire asterisk. The sound coming from it wasn't melody. It was asterisk asterisk rage asterisk asterisk. The ground cracked. Shockwaves burst from the creature's core, triggering fractures through the canyon. Crystals shattered, geysers of resonance erupted. Nearby wildlife screamed, elongated, alien wails warped by frequency. A flock of six-legged flyer spiraled out of the trees and crashed. Even the sky seemed to warp, refracted by the impossible sound. Alaire realized with dread, Carinth wasn't controlling a asterisk. The lake, this place, was amplifying it, just like the legends warned. We did not tame it, we heard it and were taken. The creature buckled. Its front legs crashed into the ground. Its head flung back, emitting a sound that was not animal, not machine, but something elemental, a language of sound waves no human could speak and no species could ignore. Carinth was losing control. Alaire's helmet shattered from the inside. Her ears bled. The lake began to ripple violently, pulsing in perfect sync with Carinth's distress. If it didn't stop soon, the resonance would reach critical harmony. The entire basin could collapse. And then she saw the worst of it. In the distance, beyond the drones, asterisk asterisk Xeron infantry asterisk was approaching, carrying asterisk nullnet generators, designed to override neural systems. They had come prepared. If they reached Carinth now while it was out of sync, overwhelmed, unmoored, it would become their weapon. And she would be the one who led them to it. Her hand reached instinctively for the control chip in her suit's emergency pouch. A drone beacon, last resort. It would call in a Terran suicide satellite still orbiting above. They would detonate the entire canyon, wipe out everything. Even her, even Carinth. Her fingers hovered over the trigger. The world trembled, but then her other hand, her left hand, broken and trembling, slid over the recorder slung against her belt. The song, her mother's voice, long gone, stored in a cracked data shard from the ruins of Europa. A lullaby from the old station days. She had never played the full recording. Not since the night she was taken from the refugee shelter. She whispered to herself, "It's not control, it's connection." She closed her eyes and began to asterisk sing asterisk asterisk. The sound wasn't loud. It wasn't flawless. Her voice cracked on the third note. But it matched asterisk. Slowly the frequency began to shift. The mist above the lake calmed. Carinth's roar began to asterisk bend, folding into harmonics that wove with hers. His body trembled, still dangerous, still monstrous, but the fire in its eyes dimmed. Alaire sang louder. The air around her shimmered, not with heat, but with asterisk recognition asterisk asterisk. The lake changed color, from red to silver, the vibration slowed. Carinth's limbs steadied, its spine lowered, the tremor stopped. The drones, once frantic, dropped out of the air one by one. Silence, she fell forward, exhausted. The lake did not shatter. The canyon did not collapse. Carinth stood beside her now, not as a titan, not as a weapon, but as something else entirely. Something asterisk listening. And somewhere in the distance, she heard the Xeron commander's voice over a comm relay, confused, angry. "We lost the signal, something interfered." Alaire looked up, voice barely audible. "I interfered." And the beast beside her asterisk purred asterisk asterisk, a sound not meant for war, but for understanding. The war had not ended, but something had changed. The roar had passed through her. And she had answered it. Planet Teclora, Day 24, nightfall. The silence after the storm was heavier than the roar itself. Alaire stood barefoot on the fractured edge of the harmonic lake, boots lost, suit torn. The silver resonance had faded into stillness, yet her skin still pulsed with echoes. In the dim light, the mist hovered low, refracting the last breaths of dusk into spectral ripples across the rocks. Carinth did not move. The crystalline titan towered before her, still, luminous, unreadable. But then, with a grace that betrayed its enormity, it lowered its head. The entire basin seemed to hold its breath as its massive frame bent forward, folding in upon itself like a collapsing cathedral of mirrored glass. Its forehead came to rest before her, touching the earth. A bow, Alaire's breath caught. It wasn't a gesture of submission. It was an invitation. Her knees shook. Her throat was raw. But there was no hesitation. She stepped forward. Carefully, she reached for the ridged surface of its neck. The texture was neither warm nor cold, neither flesh nor stone. It vibrated softly beneath her fingertips, as if Carinth were breathing through song. She climbed. Each foothold hummed beneath her weight. The plates of its back shifted to accommodate her step, reshaping themselves as if recognizing her presence. When she finally reached the crest of its shoulders, she sat between two jagged spires of amethyst, exhaling a tremulous breath. And then she sang, not words, not melody, just pure tone. Vocal resonance. From deep in her chest, Alaire let the tones rise, fall, and swirl, not to control but to communicate. The vibrations traveled through her diaphragm, into her throat, out through parted lips, and down into Carinth's core. The creature responded instantly. Its body shimmered with new colors, blue shifting into silver, silver into gold. Beneath her the air buzzed with energy. Carinth began to move, not wild or aimless but in sync. With her asterisk, their frequencies aligned, not just in tone but in purpose. They were not rider and mount, they were a duet. Above them, the night bloomed with impossible color. Teclora's aurora unfurled across the sky. Massive arcs of violet and emerald fire swirled above as if the planet itself had opened its soul. Alaire could feel the atmospheric shift on her skin. The lake had triggered a chain reaction. The air was alive. And so was war. Beyond the ridge, flashes of crimson light signaled the arrival of the Xeron armada. Dropships tore through the aurora like knives through silk. Anti-resonance cannons mounted on spider-legged walkers dug into the crystal soil. Dozens of drones fanned out, scanning, hunting. A command tower rose in the center of their field operations, dark, angular. Pulsing with violent intent, Alaire's voice dropped to a whisper. Carinth roared in harmony. Together they surged forward. The charge was not silent. It was an asterisk symphony of destruction. Carinth's claws tore through drone formations, sending them spinning into the dark. Its tail, segmented and ringed with vibrating crystal, lashed across anti-aircraft emplacements, slicing through steel like melted butter. Each movement was choreographed by Alaire's voice. She modulated her pitch with micro-adjustments in her vocal cords, sending waves of intention through the creature's structure. Not orders, not control, emotion, anger, grief. Resolve. They crashed into the tower's perimeter like an elemental force. The Xeron soldiers panicked. Fire flew in every direction, but Carinth absorbed it. His armor refracted energy into harmless bursts. A thunderous stomp cracked the foundation of the tower, sending tremors through the valley. Alaire locked eyes with the central structure, and there, through a viewport, stood a figure she never thought she'd see again. General Kars. Her breath froze. The man who ordered the massacre at Europa Outpost 7. the one who sanctioned the purge of Echo subjects, the one whose forces left her best friend buried beneath a collapsed pressure chamber, while he laughed over comms about cleaning up evolutionary accidents. He was here. Not as a ghost, as a target. Carinth brought her close. The tower's outer shell cracked beneath a sonic pulse. Alaire dismounted without a word, stepping through falling debris into the central chamber. Carr stood alone amid the flickering consoles, his expression carved from stone, but his eyes were wide. He recognized her, his voice rasped. "You." Alaire said nothing. Carinth loomed behind her, filling the shattered wall, glowing with controlled rage. The ground hummed. She could end this. One note, one tremor of her throat, and Carinth would crush him. He had no defenses, no escape. Alaire stepped forward. Her lips parted, but no roar came. Instead, she sang. A low, aching tune. The same lullaby that had once echoed in Europa's metal corridors. The one her mother hummed to a sleeping child who would never know peace. Carinth responded, not with fury, but with a deep, resonant purr. Cars fell to his knees, trembling. Alaire looked down at him, voice like wind scraping across memory. If he can choose not to kill you. Her eyes narrowed. Then what excuse do you have? The silence was deafening. Carinth lowered his head, watching. Cars said nothing. His breath hitched, his mouth opened then closed. He had no answer, no weapon, no authority, only fear. Alaire turned away. Behind her, Carinth stepped back, his form rising into the aurora-lit night, as if shedding the last fragments of a past built on blood. She didn't need revenge. She needed something bigger. Proof that even weapons born from extinction could choose something else. That even in a galaxy full of warlords and monsters, one voice, her voice, could still stop a war without pulling the trigger. They left Cars kneeling amid the ruins of his own empire, alone beneath a sky painted by the thing he tried to enslave. And the song echoed long after they vanished into the night. Planet Teclora, Day 26, and beyond the battle ended not with a final blast, but with a hush so complete it made even the aurora seem quiet. The Xeron fleet retreated under the weight of silence, a silence they could not penetrate, could not weaponize, and most terrifying of all, could not understand. Their ships lifted into the night sky, formation broken, purpose scattered. Some crashed mid-flight, disabled by residual resonance loops Carinth left in his wake, echoes embedded into the very air. Like threads of invisible sound, what they had come to conquer had refused to be conquered. And what they had tried to enslave had chosen a voice instead. The control tower lay in ruins, humming faintly with fragments of broken frequencies. The resonance lake had dimmed to a pale silver, a scar of stillness in a world that had sung too long in agony. And Carinth, once a myth, once a weapon, now stood motionless atop a shattered ridge. Alaire Voss dismounted slowly. Her boots touched ground once more, firm, cracked, and glinting with fractured glass. She looked toward the battlefield one last time. Fires smoldered in the distance. But no more weapons were drawn. No more lives burned in service of conquest. Just breath and the quiet murmur of wind. She left before the Union came. Rescue crews, drone scavengers, Terran intelligence squads, they would follow the heat trail. The signature of high-energy events, the unsanctioned use of a genetically tagged subject from Project Echo. They would ask questions, they would bring cages, but by the time they arrived, Alaire was gone. So was Carinth. No one knew where she had gone, not even the satellites that orbited above Teclora could trace her. They found only a faint harmonic pattern embedded in the ruins, looping endlessly. We heard it and were changed. The message wasn't signed, but those who listened closely claimed they heard something else hidden beneath it. A woman's hum, steady and low, buried in layers of frequency no machine could replicate. A lullaby, months passed, on the southern edge of the Helios belt, where rescue stations floated among asteroid rings. Reports began to surface. Pilots lost in deep magnetic storms swore they saw a shape through the debris, a creature. Shimmering blue and violet, larger than any known species, gliding soundlessly across the void. On its back a figure, slim still, cloaked in light and humming. They called her many things, the voice between stars, the siren of the forgotten, but most knew her by the name whispered in half-belief across outposts and listening posts, Echo Rider. A woman who wielded no weapon, only sound. Back on Terra, Project Echo was quietly erased. Its files wiped from the central archives. The scientists who had once dissected her voice now denied she'd ever existed. Official statements declared her an operational anomaly, her actions attributed to uncontrolled biological deviation. She became a *** ghost in the code asterisk, a rumor carved in silence. But among the refugee colonies, the children of war, the wanderers who knew what it meant to be forgotten, Alaire's name remained. Passed from mouth to mouth like a prayer that didn't need gods. They sang her lullaby, not always in tune, not always with the same words, but always with hope, hope that somewhere someone still listened. That somewhere, someone still believed there was another way to survive. Not by dominating, but by harmonizing, inside the belly of a dormant moon far from any known route. Alaire activated the recorder she'd carried since Europa. The metal was scorched, the memory nearly full. Her hands trembled as she scrolled to the last journal entry. She had not spoken aloud since Teclora, but now she did. I used to think being different meant being broken, she said softly. Static crackled. I used to think no one would ever hear me without trying to change me. The recorder blinked. I was born of silence, made to sing, and punished when my song did not fit the war they wanted. A pause. Wind rustled through the cave opening, dry and musical. I don't belong in their history. She looked out toward the stars. They'll write about battles, about fleets and flags and victories measured in square kilometers. She placed the recorder gently on the ground. But no one will write about what I saved. Then one final line, not sung, but spoken like truth. If I was ever a mutant, then now I am the living memory of everything that was never heard. She turned. Carinth was waiting, no command, no saddle. No tether, just understanding. And as they moved together again, the ground beneath them vibrated in time with her breath. One woman, one voice, one echo never lost. Beyond Teclora, no fixed date, no fixed time. This is not a story of war. Not in the way history usually remembers it, with weapons, with victors, with the blood of the conquered etched into the footnotes of empires. No, this was never a tale about firepower or superior tactics. It wasn't about dominance or defeat. This was a story about connection, about sound passed between beings too different to speak, yet still capable of listening. It was about one woman who refused to raise a gun, and one creature who had never been taught to lower its head, until they found harmony in the space between fear and understanding. Alaire Voss was never meant to be a warrior. She didn't stand atop ruins and plant flags. She didn't speak in grand speeches or rally troops. She didn't even believe in victory, not the way governments and armies defined it. And yet in silence and in song, she accomplished what no fleet could. She made the impossible listen. What then was Carinth? Not a monster, not a weapon, not even a relic of war as the Kithari once thought. Carinth was something else, something both ancient and evolving. Living memory forged by a species too afraid of its own genius, too desperate to survive, too quick to control what it could not comprehend. The Kithari built it with the intention of winning. But what they created was more than a tool. It was a soul. One forgotten by time, buried beneath glass and silence, until a woman with a fractured past and a broken voice reminded it that it could be more. Alaire didn't tame it. She didn't command it. She sang to a asterisk, and in doing so she gave it what it had never been offered, a choice. Let this be clear. This story did not end in the usual way. There was no treaty signed in golden ink, no medals handed to Alaire, no holographic parades in her honor. The Union erased her. The Zayron Empire pretended she never existed. The battle was quietly categorized as a natural anomaly. And the term resonant warfare was officially struck from military doctrine. But the people who were saved, the lost ships pulled from the void, the children who hum lullabies in old trade ports, the deep runners who carry amulets etched with sound signatures, they know. They whisper of her, of the woman who sang instead of shot asterisk, of the creature who followed only music, not commands, of the night when a roar became a dialogue and a battle became a ballad. They call her Echo Rider. She is not in history, she is outside it. And maybe that's where all real stories belong, outside the lines drawn by those who never listened. So what now? What do we carry forward from a tale built not on conquest but on resonance? Perhaps this: if you are human, let your technology be a bridge, not a chain. Let your tools enhance your empathy, not your thirst to dominate. Because no creature is a monster if you are patient enough to hear the roar behind its scars. Perhaps that's the real caution, the quiet wisdom buried under the spectacle of planets and predators. We build tools to shape the universe. We craft machines to mimic thought, replicate movement, record memory. But we forget the most human thing we've ever done is not build. It's asterisk listen asterisk asterisk. We forget that no algorithm can replicate grace asterisk asterisk, the choice not to strike when you can, the decision to hum instead of scream, the act of giving another being the space to not be what they were designed to be. And we forget too often that not all songs are meant for the stage asterisk asterisk. Some are sung alone in a damaged helmet to a creature of crystal and silence. Some are sung not to be heard by others, but to make sure we ourselves do not forget how to feel. So no song is meaningless, not if it carried one life through a night too dark to name. Not if it reached across species and time and reminded something buried that it could choose again. Not if it became the only language two beings ever shared. And in the end, what remains? Not data, that always degrades. Not monuments, they always fall. What remains is sound. Not recorded but remembered, not stored, but felt asterisk asterisk. And if someday you drift through the quiet edge of a dead system, where no signal returns and even time seems thin, and if, in that silence, you hear a hum, a low, aching thread of melody pulsing through the dark, it may not be a ghost. It may just be a woman who was once broken, riding a memory that refused to forget, and choosing even now to sing. Because while technology can store sound, only the heart knows when to let it rise.